Welcome back, everybody, to the Get Back Guys podcast, the final episode in our putting 2 out a week format we decided to do. We've been so busy trying to even fit these in has been tough, so going back to once a week I'm sure will help all of us. We can focus on one longer show. We got the NFC East left, my team, my division. Didn't mean to save it for best to last, but that's the way it worked out. So any thoughts? Or real quick before we get into it, guys, please share our show around. Want to help this thing grow. We're loving what we're doing over here. Follow us on Twitter at the Get Back Guys and Instagram at the Get Back Guys. So please follow us. We're tweeting. We have shout out to our buddies, the Expansion Buddies podcast. We have been constant Twitter battles with them, which has been a lot of fun. So please do that. It would really help us out, and we'd really appreciate it. So now let's get into it. The NFC East. We're going to start with the TBDs. Any thoughts on the TBDs, their roster going into this year, final cuts? Does anybody have any thoughts, or should we move on to the New York Giants?
Nick, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'm curious to see Dwayne Haskins. How is he going to be this year? And if he, also Alex Smith is a wild card because he did make their 53-man roster, obviously, because they can't really afford to cut him. They're not going to be a very good team. They've got some decent pieces. I would be interested to see if people try to trade for Ryan Kerrigan. Would be interesting. Chase Young's a monster. But they're a few years away. Really, I think this season's just about saying, do we build around Haskins for the next few years? Is he our guy, or do we need to reevaluate and draft like a Trey Lance next year or Trevor Lawrence? So that's kind of rebuilding, kind of see what they have at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the case with the new head coach in Ron Rivera. I mean, they're really trying to turn this team around in more ways than one. I mean, with all the drama stuff that's going on with just the organization in general, but just focusing on the team itself, I'm kind of with Nick to where they're taking like a wait and see kind of approach. Technically a new quarterback, technically a new head coach. You still got some good players on that team, but it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together to make any sort of, major shifts in what this team could be. So right now I'm not too confident in them, but I also just don't know very much outside of a few guys that look like studs. I mean, Chase Young, Terry McLaurin, there's some building pieces for you, but for that team. But again, it's just a matter of wait and see. Let's see how this team can come together and see whether they can build on it or if they do have to kind of rebuild again.
What do you mean? You said basically a new quarterback. What do you mean by that?
Oh, that was just miswording on my part. I mean, They had him for half of last season, but this will probably be the first time that we do see him as a full season, but it was just miswording on my part.
I'm curious more at the running position after they've been put a lot of investment into Geis over the last 2 years, and for him to not only have had the injury problems, but then he got in trouble. He said something that he wasn't supposed to, or he did something he wasn't supposed to. You guys remember?
Darius Geis?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah?
Yeah, I think no, I just did not know who you were referring to. I just didn't catch a name. Yeah, it was something to do with an abuse of some kind, and he turned himself in, which caused the team to cut him.
That's right.
But he also had injuries in general.
Yeah, and I think Gibson's pretty interesting. He's only carried the ball 33 times in his career in college as their running back. So people seem to be pretty high on him, and obviously they cut Adrian Peterson, but depending on how he does is going to be interesting to see as well, because he has barely played the running back position before this.
Yeah. All right, shifting over to the New York Giants. I guess I also agree. I don't think the TBDs are going to be very good. I don't like their defense really either, except for Chase Young.
I think their defense could surprise, but
well, last year they started hot and then were one of the worst statistically in the league on every area of the ball. And I don't think Chase Young is one. He's not Aaron Donald. He might be. He's not now. So I don't think he's good enough to make that entire defense suddenly be elite. So I think they're going to be for sure. They're going to be bad. Could maybe be good. But the Giants, like Saquon a lot, as much as as an Eagle fan, I'm okay with the TBDs and the Giants. I don't actively hate them. I don't love them, but I don't actively hate them as much as I hate the Cowboys. So Giants, I like Saquon quite a bit. I think Danny Dimes is fun. I don't know if he's good, but he's a baby Eli Manning to me, and it's It's fun. I don't really. I think he's okay. He might take that step forward. I'm not sure if he will. Their roster overall, I think, outside of Saquon is okay. I also think they kind of have a lackluster defense. I don't think they're going to do much. I think they're going to be a bottom team this year too, because I think they're trying to get pieces around him. I like Sterling Shepard, but that's about it at that wide receiver group. Golden Tate's all right, just a little old. And their O-line is not that great. But anybody else got any thoughts on those New York Football Giants?
I'm curious to see if the step of Daniel Jones, how much he'll take. I'm with you, Alex. I'm not in love with their defense. I don't think it's particularly good. It might need a few more pieces before it can really get into like pretty good category. I don't know if that makes sense, but Daniel Jones, I could see taking a pretty good step forward just because of the weapons that he has. I'm with Alex where I like Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton. I think those guys have a lot of upside. I'm more of a fanboy of Golden Tate. That's because I loved him when he was in Seattle for those years ago. And Saquon Barkley, of course, is a beast. It doesn't really matter about their O-line. He'll get the job done, but it just depends. Healthy. Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to Daniel Jones's progression, it will depend on how that O-line turns out, which I'm not too confident in, but I'm not scared either, if that makes sense. I feel like that offensive line is kind of middle of the road, and it could be relatively decent to help Daniel Jones out.
Yeah, I think really they're in the same boat as Washington, trying to figure out if Daniel Jones is the guy or not. But I do think they have more talent overall. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. I like Golden Tate, Shepard, Ingram. They have a lot of playmakers around him to at least be able to evaluate it. It's a little bit different in Washington with Haskins because they only have Terry McLaurin. And I think their defense is a little bit better. Like their defense could be around 15, I think, if they're all kind of playing up to it and they're healthy. So I could see them actually sneaking to be like an 8 and 8, 9 and 17 if Daniel Jones is pretty good. But more likely they're the third team in this division. They win around 6 games.
Yeah. Yeah,
right,
that's what I would say too.
So the Cowboys. Kyle, why don't you start this one off? What do you think of the Cowboys?
I think their roster looks pretty good, enough for playoff contention, and they're still going to go 8 and 8 and maybe make the playoffs still. I mean, I don't know. I just don't have that much confidence when it comes to the Cowboys. Like, you know, they still always look about the same team every year to where they're playoff bound, but you know, for some reason they can't get the job done. Maybe that's different with Mike McCarthy. I don't really have much confidence in Mike McCarthy anymore. I'd rather the Cowboys try and find someone else for that job, for the head coach. But I can't deny that their roster looks good. I mean, say what you will about Dak, but he has been able to get the job done. He has the weapons, you know, Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, but now they also added CeeDee Lamb, which is still ridiculous to say. I can't believe that they were able to get him. And their defense, though they lost Byron Jones, there's still some good pieces there to where it could be a threat. I mean, I still like Van Der Esch a whole lot. Signing Everson Griffin to be opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence, that's going to be pretty scary, I think. So playoff bound for sure, but I still also think that they're still going to be that same Cowboys 8 and 8, 9 and 7 type team.
Who is it they signed that you mentioned opposite Lawrence again?
Everson Griffin from the Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. No, what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think they're a pretty good team. Their offense is insane. You know, you have a top 3, top 5 running back, great number 1 receiver. CeeDee Lamb should have probably been a top 10 pick. He was top 10 talent. Yeah. So their draft was insane because they also got Trevon Diggs in the second round at cornerback, and he's a first round talent that they got mid-second round. So, you know, they have talent kind of everywhere. Their defense, I think, still has some holes in the secondary. Obviously, Diggs is probably not going to be as good as Byron Jones was. I think Van Der Esch is a decent middle linebacker, but he's not, I don't think, anything special. I think he's been a little hyped up from the Cowboys, you know, just being such a popular team. So I think their defense has a lot of holes, but their offense, even if their offensive line is taking a step back, should be one of the at least a top 10 in the NFL. So I can see if their defense puts it together, they can be a really scary team. They can win double-digit games, but I'm a little cautious on them. I think they tend to get overhyped.
So the Cowboys are the team I hate the most. I think a lot of people, even in our circle, guests we've had on, maybe even you guys a little bit, tend to not like the Cowboys anyway. Fan
Yeah.
base be part of that. I think their defense is really not that great. I do like the Everson Griffin pick, but outside of those two, that's about it. I don't mind Van Der Esch. I think he's a solid player, but he also can't stay healthy. And Sean Lee, is he even still there? I mean, he's never on the field.
Actually,
He's
he
on
got
the
put on
IR.
IR.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they still have him.
There's players that, and like Andrew Luck when he retires out of nowhere kind of makes sense. And there's guys like Sean Lee where it's like, why haven't you done that? You've been nothing but hurt. But
He's still pretty young.
anyway.
Yeah.
Sure, but he's been hurt every
Yeah.
year. I mean, every single year he's hurt. I think their offense is obviously stacked on paper. I'm curious to see how it's going to translate. I mean, I was chanting the names of Amari Cooper. Everybody cast him out. Amari Cooper's terrible. He's always been terrible. He was never good with the Raiders. No, he had one bad year in his first three. They traded him, and then he had another great year. Just had bad system around him. I really like CeeDee Lamb. I wanted Philly to trade up for him, even though I'm happy with Rager. I think they're good. The biggest issue I have is so far in their career, I've never really seen Dak be clutch. If I'm being honest. And maybe there's a playoff game I'm missing somewhere. Is there a game I'm missing maybe? Let me know.
I mean,
if I
he
am.
was pretty insane in his first playoff game, his first year when he played against the Packers. They lost that game because Aaron Rodgers had maybe one of his greatest throws of all time, but he played insane in the fourth quarter playing really bad early.
He's good. I mean, his stats have proved it. He's done that, but he's never, I think, when the time needed it to happen, showed up and made the play that won the game. I haven't seen that from him. The fact, and last year to me showed it the most. That team should have steamrolled me, Giants, and the TBDs, and they didn't. They should have beaten us. They should have gone to the playoffs. They were stacked on their roster. They had better defensive players there that are now gone. They should have beaten us. Their offense was better. They were not injured like we were, and they lost. And they lost to bad teams. And I just don't think they have the clutch gene, and I think that's why they ultimately decided to finally get rid of Jason Garrett. I don't know if Mike McCarthy is what they need to be clutch. So right now, to me, they're not a fear. I can see them winning the division, but I think some people have them pegged as the clear-cut front runners, and I just don't think that's true. If you're asking,
I think Mike McCarthy will be good because we've seen him. The things that he did great was utilizing the Packers had such a great receiving core for such a long time, and him utilizing that offense. I think he can do good things for Dak, who has been behind Jason Garrett. So I do think it's an improvement, even if there might have been other head coaching options that could have been
I think
better.
It is for sure, just because Mike McCarthy's got that ring. He's got some nice things on a resume, but also Mike McCarthy's last few years, their offense wasn't that great. So when he was there, so I think he helps. I like him more than Garrett, but I just don't know if he's what's suddenly going to make them win 13 games and be elite, where Dak is winning these insane games and we're singing his praises. I just don't think so. And the fact that Dak still hasn't signed a long-term deal, I don't think is good for a locker room. Especially when we're seeing guys get money constantly. All right, are we jumping now to my team real fast here?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about your team.
All right, I'll start it. I can get hyped. Obviously, if you've watched all the other episodes, I can be biased, but I also can be realistic. The injuries is a big problem. There's a few injuries now that I think on paper, when we hear it in the media, sounds worse than it actually is at the moment, outside of Brandon Brooks and Andre Dillard. I think all the other injuries are, Rager being out first couple weeks, Will Parks being out for maybe the first 4 weeks, first month. Those are bummers, but I don't know if those were they're not as important, I think, for than what the line is. Bringing Jason Peters back, that news broke today because Doug had constantly been saying apparently Jason Peters had been playing excellent at right guard, and I believe it. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame guy. I believe it. He was a top 3 statistic left tackle last year, and the guy's 38 years old. He's healthy. He's still a beast. They officially moved him back to left tackle today after saying they weren't going to. And I think that just shows But the guys we were moving to left tackle, who had some played at right guard, some were rookies, some are like Jordan Mailata, who we drafted a couple years ago, that rugby guy. I just don't think they're ready for a full starting caliber. And I think it's actually the smart move, because I think Matt Pryor will do better at right guard where he's more comfortable than left tackle. And I think we still have 3 Pro Bowlers on that line. Isaac is actually pretty good. Nobody talks about our left guard being a problem because he's solid. He's not elite, but he's good. He's a good player. I think we actually still have a pretty good O-line. We do need to stay healthy. We do need to get healthy. But Wentz also has the clutch gene that I don't think Dak right now has shown he has. And Wentz proved it last year. But he also needs to stay healthy. So if we can stay healthy, I think we're a real threat. If we do not stay healthy, I think we could slide in, because we showed that last year that we can slide in. Is the division going to be as bad last year? Probably not. But I think even if we still struggle with the injuries, I think we still have enough talent where if Wentz can stay, then I think we'll either slide in a wild card or could win the division depending on the health. And maybe miss the playoffs, but I don't think we would lose more than maybe 7 games at the most if we really struggle this year. I still think 7 is the kind of low bar I see. I don't know how you guys feel. Call me out on my biased BS here, but go ahead. I'm ready for it. Ready to
Nick,
cry.
what do you think?
Yeah, I think the Eagles are a really good team. I think they're probably the favorites. I think they're pretty similar, actually, talent-wise right now. I am concerned at moving Jason Peters back to left tackle just because of his age. Obviously, when he's in, he's great. But that, one injury on the offensive line and things can really fall apart, it seems like, because obviously they've lost two starters or starting caliber kind of guys.
And including the best guard in football.
I also think wide receiver is going to be interesting, even if they are all healthy. How is Alshon Jeffrey going to be a few years removed from being really great? But Miles Sanders is really good. I'm also have still a few concerns about the secondary. Darius Slay is a huge pickup, but you also lose Malcolm Jenkins, who's kind of been a rock there for a long time. So I think the Eagles are really good. I think Carson Wentz is awesome, of course. Miles Sanders is good. They have a great defensive line. So
I will say
the Eagles
this,
are going to be in a lot of games, but I think there is a few holes on the roster that hold them back, and I think a big thing is they're in one of the weakest divisions in the NFL.
Real quick before Kyle chimes in, I will add this. I do agree with what you say about Malcolm. Looking at the stats, Malcolm fit our system very well, but over the last 2 years, he has kind of fallen off a little bit, which is why we didn't want to pay him. But I do think if you take the unit last year and the unit this year, this unit is better on paper. I do think Malcolm is a big loss. I do, especially in the locker room. But I think when you look at them on paper, I think you do end up taking this team going in this year right now. I like Slay. Maddox is going to improve. He played well last year. Sidney Jones, who we cut, and Rasul Douglas, who we cut, could never find their footing. And Robbie Coleman, I think, is a really sneaky pickup for that slot spot because he tends to be durable and he's really good. So I do think we do take that. And we still have Rodney McLeod, who played great last year at safety. So I agree, Nick, but I am just saying I do give the slight edge to this secondary going into the year on paper.
Yeah, but I don't think that your secondary was not very good at all last year, so I still think it's a big issue.
Well, I'll take any little bit better I can get. No, it's an issue. I'm not disagreeing with you there. It's an issue, but I'm more optimistic. I was very nervous last year. I'm more optimistic this year than I was. But Kyle, you got any thoughts, or should we just get into the schedule?
I've mentioned this on previous episodes. I absolutely loved the Eagles roster. I think it was much more stacked top to bottom as it was the previous year, which I understand why Alex is a bit more confident as to when he was confident at the start of last season. But the injuries do have me worried, but Alex's thoughts on that stuff has made me ease those worries a bit more, so I feel more optimistic now. The offensive line, it does sound like that's a bit tricky, but I think, like Alex was saying, Carson Wentz is such a stud. He's such a playmaker that can get out of some tough situations. He could probably be able to get the job done even still. Yeah, this team I think can be playoff bound, especially with the acquisitions that they made on the defensive side, not just with Hargrave, but Roby Coleman and Darius Slay. I think those are really, really good pickups that they had.
Malik Jackson being healthy, I think, helps too as a rotation guy.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. I forgot. I almost even forgot that you guys got him. So like when all those pieces are coming together, like that team is very dangerous. I feel like. But
I'm gonna add one more final thing before we start.
Yeah,
we have the best GM and the best coach in the division, and I don't think it's close. And I think we might have a top 3 GM in the entire league, and I think we might have a top 5 coach, arguably top 5 coach in football. Doug has shown that even with the injuries, he can adjust and get some wins. And Howie, one of the reasons the line doesn't super concern me either at the moment is because Howie is always wheeling and dealing. And I think at some point this year, a trade is going to happen for us that's going to be big, and I think it will end up being in the offensive line. But that's my last thing I wanted to just say. I don't know if you guys agree, disagree. We can go right into the schedules here, but I wanted to throw that out there.
No, I don't think you're far-fetched at all in what you're saying. I mean, I've learned my lesson about Howie like years ago when I was getting nervous that you guys wouldn't be able to find a way to, pay all your guys or work the cap space out as good as you have over the last few years. But even still, like you've proven to me time and time again that you're able to get the job done and find ways to make it work to where you can still add studs, but find the money to make that possible. Yeah. So and I'm with you. I get it. It's a very fair argument.
He tends to also let go of players that I think in the Super Bowl run, there was no way. Everybody was saying there's no way you're going to get rid of Nigel Bradham at any point here. He's too good. Got rid of him. He went to the Saints. Then he trashed the Eagles, and the Saints cut him because he's struggling. So I think we're pretty good at evaluating, but we can jump into it, Nick, unless you got any final thoughts on Philly you wanted to say.
Sounds good to me. Let's jump into it.
All right. I actually wrote down the Cowboys schedule first just because that's the order it had on Google. So we'll start with that. The first game of the year is Cowboys at LA Rams. Nick, who do you got?
I think it could actually be a pretty close game because I think Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey could be big, but I'll go Cowboys actually. Maybe that offense can do enough against it, and it might take the Rams a little bit. The Rams have a lot of moving pieces on defense and at running back, so I'll go Cowboys.
Kyle?
I'm in the same boat as Nick. I could see that where the Cowboys can get that win week 1.
Yeah, I think their offense, if they're going to start, if I had to choose that they're going to start hot or start late, I think they're going to start hot and filter. I don't think it'll go the other way around. So, and I think the Rams, even with Aaron Donald, might take a little bit to get going, even if they end up being pretty good. So, I want this team to go 0-16, but I guess
you're going to want all these teams go 0-16.
Following that, we've got the Falcons at Cowboys, their first home game of the year. If that matters this year, we're not sure. So, Kyle, what do you think there? Falcons at Cowboys.
You know what? I think I'll go Falcons on this one. Right now, as I'm thinking through it, I feel like I'm more confident in Matt Ryan and his established weapons more than Dak Prescott and the Mike McCarthy connection. Oh, although I guess it's not Mike McCarthy that's running the office fully. It's probably still
it's still Kellen Moore completely. I don't think Mike's doing anything with the offense outside of just helping in the room, but Kellen's calling the plays.
That's a good point then. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. So it's not so much Mike McCarthy then. Well, I'll still go with Matt Ryan. I think he could be able to get the job done with his weapons.
Nick, what do you think?
I'm gonna go Cowboys. I think they're just a little more talented, but it could be a fun whoever has the ball at the end kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Trying not to be biased here. I'll give it to the Cowboys. First home game of the year, even with no fans. I think that's still going to be tough. I don't like it, but I'll give it to the Cowboys. So the next week they'll go on the road to play the Hawks in the Link. Kyle, why don't you start this one off again since it's your boys? You going to get a win here or a loss?
I hate to say it, but I think I'll go Cowboys for the win. I don't trust my run defense. I mean, I love the secondary, but we still have not done anything on their defensive line, pass rush or run stopping. And I could see Zeke being just carving it out for us all day. And that could really lend to the secondary being confused and causing Dak to make some pretty good throws to get the job done. So I think I will have to go Cowboys, although Russ will make it difficult for them to get the win, but there'll be a win for them, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a close game. I see the Cowboys going 2-1 in the start, and so since we have them 2-0, I'll give it to the Seahawks.
I'm in the same boat. If we flip that Falcons game, maybe, but I'd give it to the Hawks here.
Guys,
just everything you said, I think could still happen, but I think you'll win. Again, Russ is a clutch gene that Dak has not shown he has. So
True.
if the game came down to the wire, I'd rather have Russ with the ball in his hands.
Same.
All right, then the Cowboys go back home to play the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield, who also has a stacked-looking roster. They've got a very similar offense looking there. Nick, who do you think's taking that one? Browns at Cowboys.
I'm gonna go Browns. Actually, I think they'll start to be cooking by this point in the year, and I think I think Myles Garrett could have a huge game, and yeah, I'm gonna go Browns.
Kyle,
I think the Browns defense might be better than the Cowboys defense.
Yeah,
I think they're close. Like Alex was saying, their teams are pretty close when it comes to how they're built. But
I like No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, but I think I lean towards the Browns when it comes to which defense I would prefer. So I think I'll lean towards them taking the win.
I'm outvoted, but I also agree because I think their secondary is much better over there in Cleveland, and I just do, and I think just like them more. I just do. Plus the Cowboys suck. Giants at Cowboys. I'll start this one. Tough division game at home. I'd probably give it to the Giants. We tend to, our entire division will play each other tough, even if you get sweeps. So I think it'll be, I think every division game will be close in this division, but I do think it'll go to the Cowboys. I don't think they'll lose 3 straight. I think they'll end up winning at home against the Giants.
Yeah, me too.
Kyle, you agree?
Not really. I would think that the Cowboys could get the win, but I also just don't know much about. I don't know why I thought you guys were saying Giants
at Cowboys. I think Cowboys win at home.
Oh,
close
I
one.
see. I got it reversed. Okay, yeah. Okay, you guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Kyle's in. He's in. The finger didn't come up, but he's in.
All in.
Cardinals at Cowboys, 2 back-to-back home games. We were very high on the Cardinals. Nick brought me over to that.
Yeah, I'm going Cardinals all the way.
I'm gonna go Cardinals as well.
Cool. No, I actually would like to see the Cardinals beat the Cowboys.
Again, though, cool. Similar offense on paper. I mean, you like that, what they got going on every spot on the ball. I like the Cowboys line a little more, but Kenyon Drake showed he can ball out, that guy over there in Arizona. So so Cardinals get the win there. Cowboys on the road to play the Washington TBDs. Again, I think it'll be more competitive than people think. Or even the score would show, but I would give it still to the Cowboys because I think the TBDs might get swept even if the games are close in a couple of these division games. I got the head nod, so.
Yeah.
All right, first matchup where Al's super biased. Cowboys in Philly at the Link. We're halfway through the year about, so fans maybe some, maybe not. We're not sure at this point. Hard to say, but Cowboys at Eagles. Nick, who do you got?
So I think the Cowboys and Eagles will split this year, but I actually think it's more likely that the Cowboys get a win early and the Eagles get a win late in the year, even though the home field advantage is flipped. So I'm going to go Cowboys here.
Kyle? Or are you going to make me decide?
I'm curious about your thoughts. What do you think?
I think that they're going to go 0-16 and we're going to go 16-0. But I think the Cowboys, again, it's that clutch thing that we kind of have in Philly that I don't think Dallas has now. And do I want to give myself the home advantage? Yes, but I don't disagree with what Nick's saying at all. So I could see that, and I'm here for it. I'd go for it. I do think it will be a split though. So I'm with you. So we going to win there for the Cowboys, as much as it pains my heart. I'm gonna draw a little angry.
Yeah, you can then put a loss at the next time they play, probably, if we're all for the split.
All right,
I agree with that.
Then they go back home to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kyle, you got Steelers or do you got Cowboys here?
Well, as much as it pains me, I'm not a Steelers fan ever since the first Seahawks Super Bowl all those years ago. But I do think with Ben Roethlisberger back in the lineup and with the way that defense is looking, I do think that they could be able to outplay the Cowboys. I see them winning.
Yeah, I think the Steelers can get a big win there.
All right, sure, I'm outvoted there. Loss for the Cowboys. Then they go on the road in Baltimore. Fans or no fans, the Ravens will win.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they have the athletes to guard Lamar Jackson. Like, I don't think Van Der Esch is the type of linebacker that can contain him.
Doesn't have that speed. Kyle, do you disagree? Are you going to put the finger up or are you for it?
No, I see the Ravens getting the win.
All right. Then they go on the road to play the Cincinnati Burros in Burrowville.
Did we skip some games?
Did I?
I think we skipped 2 games. Sorry, I'm looking at the schedule too. And after Steelers,
I have 14.
Yeah, after the Steelers Cowboys, I see
Sounds like
Cowboys and Vikings.
Sounds like 2 losses to me.
Yeah, I'd give it to the Vikings.
So after Ravens or after Steelers, when's that game?
The Cowboys-Vikings game?
All right, I've got it. I pulled it up. So before that Ravens loss, it'll be the Cowboys in Minnesota.
And then I think there's Washington.
Yep, you're correct. I'm sorry, guys. I was writing quickly here.
That's all right.
I think Vikings probably get a big win against the Cowboys there.
I think so too, actually.
You both said Vikings?
Yeah.
I'm here for it because I don't like the Cowboys, so let's do it. So loss, and then they'll play the Washington TBDs in Dallas. Again, I think it's a sweep, but more competitive than people think. So I think it'd be a win.
Me too. I think maybe Washington gets a win against the Giants in division.
Yep, I agree. So so then they lose. Then we got the Ravens game, and then they will go to play the Cincinnati Burros. I think they probably get a win there after probably a brutal loss against the Ravens.
Same.
Yeah.
Then they go play the 49ers in Dallas.
I think they lose that.
I do too.
I think the defense of the 49ers can neutralize that offense, and then the offense can Jimmy Garoppolo, like, who's going to guard George Kittle? I don't know.
Yeah, and by this time you've got a lot of tape on CeeDee Lamb and Gallup and everybody, and who might have strategy where and whatnot. So I'd agree loss. Kyle?
No, right there in the same boat.
All right, so loss to the Niners. And then we already predetermined loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at home. They'll split, but Philly will get late because they're playing hot. And then we've got the final game of the year, Giants. Anybody got a high thought? It's in New York, but anybody got a
I think the Cowboys probably win that.
I would think so too. Yeah.
Perfect. They're going 8-8.
Really?
What'd I tell you?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Giving them the win at the end of the year is 8-8.
What'd I tell you?
For a new head coach, though, not many head coaches. It's really just Matt LaFleur out there going and making money moves.
Hey, that
All right. Well, I guess. All right. We'll save them to last because now I've somehow convinced myself. So we'll wait on my boys. And we'll fly through these Giants and these TBDs. We'll start with the New York Football Giants. They start their year Steelers at Giants. I think Steelers win it.
Yeah.
I think Saquon will start big, but I do not think the rest of that team will.
Daniel Jones is going to learn a lot week 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Then they go on the road to play the Bears.
Loss, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going through my D-line,
I'm looking
O-line
at-
scenario.
I'm just looking at this schedule and thinking I might have the Giants starting 0-5.
Oh, dang.
I believe it gets pretty rough if memory
So
serves me correct.
lost to the Bears, then they play the Niners in New York.
That's a loss,
Yeah.
I think that's a loss.
right?
Then they play the Rams in LA.
I think they could get a win there. If they're probably not going to start 0-4, right?
I mean, you wouldn't
Well,
think.
the next week is the Cowboys game, which we've already determined is a loss. So they would
Yeah.
start 0-5 if we do this
I'm giving
before they
them a
play
win.
the TBDs.
I'll give them a win over the Rams.
Kyle?
I was gonna see what you were thinking.
No. You.
I do think it is weirdly even between those two teams, but I trust McVay more than Joe Judge. So I think I'll go with McVay. I think the Giants will lose that.
I think Aaron Donald will have a field day with the line, and I think Ramsey will have a field day with Danny Dimes. I'm gonna go with a loss with Kyle here, but I'm with Nick. I don't know if this is going to be accurate. I think they'll win one of these games, and now they play the TBDs in New York.
Yeah,
They got to give them a win.
When they start way better than 0-5, we're replaying this clip of you two clowns over here.
Okay, don't throw. What's way better? Because if they win more, you said you're going to have them go 4-1 or 1-4.
At least 1-4, right? There's no way they're starting
and
0-5.
I see it. I'd rather give them a win against the Bears than I would against the Rams. Myself. That's where I would do it.
Again, for me, it's that O-line, D-line scenario that I always play in my head, like which one's stronger.
It's too late now. We can play the tape back, but I'm going to throw my amendment out there that I don't really love this decision either. So the TBDs in New York, I think they're going to win that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be a
TBDs
sad year here. No, the Giants.
The Giants will.
Oh, okay.
So then the Giants go after their first win of the year to play the Eagles in the Link, middle of the year. I do think personally we're actually going to sweep. But if we lose one, I think it would be the second one not at home because it's not late in the year. It's like 3 games away from when we play them again. So give me the win here. But if you guys disagree, I get it.
I'll give you guys the win here, and then I'll think about if you'll sweep or I'm not quite sure, but I think you guys could win the first one.
And it will be tough. And Saquon will have 120 yards, but it will be tough. Well, no, not Saquon because we're an elite run defense. Take that back. He still might.
I actually do think the Eagles can sweep the Giants. I see that being very possible. Again, division games, they'll be close, but for the Eagles, I see them sweeping the Giants. So I say a win.
Okay, win for my boys. Then we've got the Bucks at Giants. And I think they get a win here because I'm sticking to what I said when we did the South last episode. And I think Danny Dimes cements his spot as the baby Eli, and he can beat Tom Brady. And Tom will struggle with awkward quarterbacks. I'm sticking to it, even though you can play the tape back.
I'll agree. I'll give him a win.
Go ahead and play the tape back here. I don't care. I'm sticking to it until I see that I'm wrong.
I do like it though. I like that confidence. That'll be so funny too. Like Tom Brady, the stud against Daniel Jones, like the awkward guy just fumbling in, but he still gets the job done. And Tom's like, how? How do they do it?
It's Eli, Nick, and this Danny guy, and I can't get over it. And Cam Newton apparently, because he's never beaten Cam Newton.
Yeah, weird stat.
So they win. I gave them a win against Philly because I was so happy to have a W next to the Eagles. All right. So then they play the TBDs. They already beat them. I think it's going to actually be split. So I give the win to the TBDs here.
Me too.
Yeah, I think we'll talk more about Washington, but I could see them being a second half team to where they're actually pulling out wins. But maybe I need to look at closer to the schedule. We'll get to that.
I think it's the opposite. I think everybody else is going to have to figure things out. So if they do get hot, it'll be early while the rest of the league is trying to figure out what they're doing, and then they're going to filter like they did last year. But that's just me. Anyway, I wrote, Kyle, who do you have after the TBDs?
Eagles and Giants. Giants are a home team, but I still believe in the sweep will happen.
I accidentally wrote Giants at Giants.
But the board never lies.
Which is also funny because I looked down and registered reading the Giants as the next Eagle game a minute ago.
Yeah.
But now I forgot it. So
I think it might be
a
a split. So I'm gonna give it to the Giants and let Alex decide.
I think it will also be a split, but I'm going to give my team a win. But I'm going to throw it out there. I think the Giants tend to play us tough. I believe we swept them last year. I'd have to relook. I know we did the Titans, the TBDs, and I know we split with the Redskins, and I can't remember if we did or didn't with the Giants.
I can look that up.
And they always play us tough, so I can see it. But since Nick gave me the option of the tiebreaker, I'm going to give a win because I'm a biased guy.
You beat them both times.
Yeah, and I think we might do it again. And Saquon had big games in there, and he's going to probably still do, hopefully not. But all right, so then, again, I put a win because I saw Eagles.
He just blacks out.
Giants at Bengals.
I'm going to go Giants.
This game will only be fun just to see how Jones and Burrow look against each other, but I don't see these teams being fun to watch in general. But that being said, I think I'll go with the Giants. I think Joe Burrow will put on a show, but I just see the Giants being the team that are figuring things out a little bit more than the Bengals are. So I'll just lean towards the Giants winning.
I agree because I'm looking at the rest of the schedule, and I think they're going to lose out, and I think they're going to need that win there.
Oof.
Giants at Hawks. I think they lose.
Hawks.
I think Giants could get a win, but we'll go loss.
I like it.
Why?
I like it.
Why do you hate
I
me?
think we're really underestimating. The Giants are not like a terrible team, I don't think.
No,
But we're giving them like 4 wins.
We're giving them
their
3.
schedule is, I think their schedule is tough. That's just the thing. Like they're not like a team with no one. Like they have a good enough roster, but I
who's
just
good
don't
on
think
their
they're
defense?
They still have Blake Martinez. I'm trying to think of
Get
who's on their
outta
D
here.
line. There's
Still have Blake Martinez. They just got Blake Martinez, didn't they, this year? Last year.
Yeah, and he's average.
They do have Julius
No,
Peppers. I don't know how good he was last year, though.
I play them twice a year, and I can't name a stud on their defense. I can't name a stud they've had since Odell Beckham Jr. outside of Saquon.
A
They don't have
stud or
anybody.
just like are we saying stud
Who on
or
that
just like
defense is going to stop these elite QBs like Russell Wilson? Who on that defense is going to shut him down? Who on that defense is going to make a play?
shut down? I can't think of a name.
No one. They don't have a great roster. I
think
see
yeah,
them
it's
around
harsh
3
here.
to 5 wins is where I see them.
Man,
3 to 5.
I'll put $100 in 3 wins if they're above it.
We have a bet going on.
I'm not putting $100 down, but I'll buy a drink.
Sounds like
I
he's
s-
not confident.
I just see like 5
I
to
said
7
3 to
wins,
5. You
but-
took the low. All right. Well, that's a loss to the Hawks. Then they play the Cardinals in New York.
Well, with Nick's logic, I'll just say that the Giants win.
Yeah, I was gonna say Giants.
Actually,
Yeah, they're not gonna win 3 games. We've
No.
3 wins. They're going to win more games than that, so I will give them a win here because I think they will upset a few decent teams, even though I think the Cardinals are way better.
yeah. Again, I see them being like a 5 to 7 win team, but their schedule is tough, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't have confidence in the defense like I do the offense. Like the offense is promising to me.
You both said Giants.
I said Giants. I don't know if Kyle's
I was
gonna
making a
switch.
joke. I honestly think the Cardinals could win the game.
I also think the Cardinals will win, but because Nick's upset and I'm starting to look back, I'll flip my vote on that Rams game earlier in the year. I'll give them the win against the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do split with the Eagles. That's very
Yeah,
possible
and
too.
that might be my fault. But Browns at Giants. I think the Browns win, especially late.
Yeah, I think the Browns will be playing pretty good.
Ravens at Giants. Giants at Ravens,
Ravens.
excuse me.
Yeah,
Right.
And we already had
yeah.
predetermined the Cowboys would beat them. So even with my flip, they win 4 games.
Yeah, again, I don't see them being like that low on the totem pole. I do see them being like a 5-7 win type team. But again, I do just believe that their schedule is tough, like tougher than it needs to be for a team at the level that they're at.
What's
Giants
that?
also have a
4
decent-
and 12.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Or-
They
what was
also
that?
have a
4 and 12?
decent secondary, though. They have Logan Ryan, Bradbury. They have Jabril Peppers. Those are 3 very quality defensive
Okay,
backs.
both of you right now are telling me that you both see them winning more games. And how did we get here then? The voting wouldn't sway that way. Is it just because you all disagreed on the individual teams that week? Because you both said that you see them winning more games. I think 4 is perfect for them.
I mean, clearly we're going to leave it at 4, but I would not be shocked if they win more like 7 games. I think it's far more likely.
Yeah, and again, like it could be that they split
Sure.
with the Eagles, or there could just be a surprise game. We don't know. This is all just predictions, but I just see the roster on paper that I see is better than is a tad bit better than like a 3-5 win team. I at least see it being like a 5-7 win, and maybe that's like in the same type of team or whatever. Maybe that still means they're a bad team. I don't know, but
All right, well, we'll dumpster dive this video more than any of them at this point right now.
I mean, we did that with the Jets, right? We got them winning 2 games, and Nick thinks they at least win like 4, but
I also think they'll win more than that.
yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
Sure. All right, TBDs. Eagles at Redskins to start the year. It's a home game for them. Washington football team. It's hard to get that mental. Just I'm so used to it, so I'm trying my best. TBDs.
No.
I think we win, but I think I will be freaking the heck out until halfway through the third, and then we will start to either tie it up or pull away, because that's exactly what happened last year.
I was gonna say, I do remember you getting nervous at the third quarter, like that team just suddenly started
at the
making
half.
a comeback,
they were up
right?
by like 2 touchdowns. No, we were terrible.
Oh, you guys made
They
the
were
comeback.
destroying us. We couldn't tackle 38-year-old Vernon Davis, who ran for like a 60-yard touchdown.
That's right, man.
I do
but you
think
guys
we'll
get a
win. Carson Wentz is 3-0 in his openers, his career, with one opener he missed when he was still recovering and Nick Foles played, and Nick Foles won, which means Doug Peterson is 4-0 in his career as a coach starting the year.
I think you sweep Washington.
I agree. Kyle, you agree with that?
Yeah, that team's I see that happening.
Yeah, we're sweeping them. Again, I put a W because I'm looking at Eagles. All right, then they go play the Cardinals in Arizona the next week.
Loss, I think.
I agree. Oh, man, they're going to start bad too. TBD's at Browns.
Loss, I think.
Loss.
I think they're bad. I think Washington's just a bad team.
Yeah, I don't know. I do see the Browns winning, but I do wonder if that could be a game where, well, I was just curious if maybe that could be a game where Dwayne Haskins could like put people on notice, but I do think the Browns defense is better, so I will say Browns.
It could also be a game where they realize they're going to put in Alex Smith, who can now play football. Especially
maybe.
with, all right, that's a loss. Ravens at Washington TBDs. That's a loss.
Yep.
That defense is not stopping them. Rams at TBDs.
I mean,
they've started 4-0.
I mean, I could give Washington a win there. I think it's a potential win, even though I do think the Rams are going to be decent. Just looking at their schedule,
I'm going to give them a win there. Right? They have to, because we already have predetermined they lose the next 2. So I'm going to give them a win against the Rams, but I think any of those games might flip Maybe the Browns the most likely.
Yeah.
So they lose to the Giants, lose to the Cowboys, then they play the Giants again. Did we do that one? Yeah, we did.
I think it's
Giants,
a split. So
Yeah.
beat the Giants once.
Yeah. I would think so.
So they went. We had them winning at home and losing on the road.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they play the Lions. I think the Lions win. I don't think their secondary and defense can stop Kenny Golladay and a Matty Stafford.
Yeah, and Marvin Jones, and potentially by that time Swift will be balling out.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that their running back?
Yeah, rookie.
Right,
They
Yeah.
have Swift.
Yeah, because they've got Kerryon Johnson as the starter currently going into week 1, but I'm sure he'll take over.
He's
They run a
banged up too.
committee.
They're all kind of banged up too. All three of them because
Yeah.
they signed Adrian Peterson.
So then they play the Bengals in Washington. I'd give them a win.
I'm gonna go Bengals.
Kyle?
Oof, I wish it didn't fall on me. I don't know. I mean, I could see Washington being able to beat out the Bengals. Joe Burrow will make that tough, but I could see them being able to squeak out a win. I mean, Ron Rivera is the coach. Like, he is going to make sure like that team gets wins of some kind.
Well, he didn't do that when Cam Newton was hurt.
Well,
I mean, they
I
did start
hope Haskins
5 and
is better
3
than the
last
other
year.
guys.
Yeah, but didn't Cam play for some of those games?
No, Cam played the first 2 games, but they lost some of those games. They lost the first 2, and then they went 4 or 5 wins with Kyle Allen, and then they fell off a cliff.
Something like that.
So we went
And I think-
Washington.
Yeah, you guys did.
Yeah, because I voted Washington. I mean, I
Uh,
don't remember what I said about the Bengals when we did their division, but right now that's what I'm thinking.
Then we had predetermined loss to the Cowboys. Then they go play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I think that's a loss.
Yep.
Then they play the Niners in San Fran. I think it's a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, my prediction about them being a second half team is kind of falling by the wayside now. Alex might be onto something.
Hawks at TBDs.
Loss.
TBDs.
Hawks.
Oh, yeah, that's what I
TBDs.
said. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You had
Then
me
they play the
nervous.
Panthers at home. I think that's where they'll get their 4th and final win of the year.
I think they'd lose that game.
Yeah,
Okay. Kyle, you're the tiebreaker.
I think I'll lean towards Panthers.
Wow. All right. So that means their final record will be 3-13.
Sounds about right to me.
Because then they lose the final game of the year to the Eagles. They might win that Eagle game if for some miracle on whatever street we're secured in a playoff spot. But I don't see that happening, especially with the new format. I think playoffs are about to be a lot more competitive, making the last 2 weeks more competitive.
Sure.
All right, let's rattle through these wins. Shouldn't take long at all when we just hit this WWWWW.
I was gonna say it's gonna be 16-0, right?
Yeah.
Well, we
Eagles
already had
football,
losses,
baby.
So I already crushed that dream at the Cowboys start. We have starting Washington. We already have a win predetermined. Then we play Rams at Eagles. It's our first home game of the year. I think we win because Sean McVay's never beat the Eagles, whether it's home or away.
Yeah, I think you guys can get a win there. Could be a sneaky game though.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah, I understand
But-
that logic.
I'm going to stick with the stats because Sean has never beaten us. He couldn't beat Nick Foles, and he couldn't beat Wentz. So, yeah, Burrows at Eagles.
Eagles.
I agree.
Yeah.
Burrow could have a good day though, I think. Could be kind of his first big game, even if they don't win.
Well, I think if our secondary is going to end up being good, we're going to start feeling it now. But hopefully he doesn't have a good game. But sure. Hey, don't be mean because I'm being optimistic here. Eagles at 49ers. I'm going to say we lose, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that would probably be a loss for Probably not going 4-0.
Yeah, I think you guys on pass defense will be pretty good because other than Kittle, who knows how their wideouts will be coming back. They're kind of still all pretty banged up. I don't know the status of Debo right now. I'm just assuming that he's
Debo
not.
might play week 1. So
Oh,
he'll definitely
really?
be back
Did that
by then. Yeah,
change?
he's in.
Oh,
It's in the
I read
ballpark
that
for it.
yesterday too. He'll be back by
I
In the
week
missed
ballpark
two.
for early. Yeah.
Oh,
He'll be back.
then yeah, I do see a lean towards the Niners then.
I like how Debo Samuel's enough to get Kyle to switch his
Well,
entire
I
vote.
mean-
It's just Debo Samuel.
No, I mean I was leaning towards the Niners in the first place, but I was saying that like it could be pretty tight because they don't have all their weapons yet. But
So it
if
won't.
that's the case,
You're saying it won't be. It'll be a blowout against my team because Debo is playing. Is what you're saying?
no, no, I'm just
Coming in hot.
I mean, I think Debo does
Get outta
make a
here.
difference because just having one, like without him, they have nobody, and so having him just can change the complexity of their offense.
No, I'm with you. I'm just.
Yeah.
I actually think we do have a real shot to win that game, but I went loss because I knew you both would go loss. And then
There's the
Eagles,
confidence.
Eagles at Steelers. I think we win that game because we have beaten them before with Big Ben. We beat them with Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and everybody when they've been there. So I think we'll get a win even on the road. I think it'll be close, but I think Eagles get the win.
I'll go loss and let Kyle decide. I think that defense could present some interesting issues for the Eagles offense, even if Carson Wentz is playing really well. And that could be kind of when the Steelers start to hit their stride with Big Ben being back. So I'll let Kyle decide.
I'm also going to point out we play the Ravens the following week, and I don't think we win that game. And I also do not think we lose 3 in a row here. That's why I think we beat the Steelers. That's a big part of it as well. But go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I see you being able to get a win out of playing the Steelers. I don't think that's I see that being very possible. That Steelers team is good, but Eagles team I'm pretty sold on.
All right, win there. I like it. So Ravens at Eagles. As much I hope. I think we got a chance, and I hope we win that game or somehow make it competitive. But I get that glass does not look pretty, and I think the Ravens will. Right now, I'd give the Ravens a win. So
yeah, me
much
too.
as it pains me to say, but I think there's a chance. So then we have predetermined win against the Giants. Then we have predetermined loss against the Cowboys. And then we have predetermined win against the Giants. And then we play the Browns in Cleveland. Again, unless injuries have completely destroyed us, and I don't want to be unfair and say that by this point of the year they will, because I look at it half full here. I think we win that game. I think we have the talent to beat the Browns. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think we have the talent to do it.
I think it could be a sneaky game. I think the Browns could be clicking right now, and that your secondary might have a hard time with just all the weapons the Browns have. But I'll give you the win. But it'll be an interesting game, I think.
Yeah, and I'm about with what Nick's saying, so works for me.
Seahawks at Eagles. Every year I think the streak is going to break. Every year I've been wrong, and I'm going to keep tradition going.
So you're
As
voting
will
for the
I.
Eagles?
Yeah, I'm going to keep it. So, Nick, you're the tiebreaker because we all knew it was going to happen that way.
I think Kyle just said he's voting for the Eagles, didn't he?
No, he said he's sticking to this team.
Seahawks.
Oh.
If injuries have depleted us, I'd give you the win.
I mean,
but I don't want to
I
look at it
think
that we're going to be destroyed by injuries.
If I'm going to go with just who I think has the better roster right now, then it has to be the Eagles. So I'll go Eagles.
Yes!
Fair enough. Eagles roster is better than the Seahawks.
That's a tough one, and
well, the
their
following
defensive line
week we
scares
play
me.
the Green Bay Packers.
loss.
So, all right, Kyle, you're in the same position. That Nick was just in. We beat him in Lambeau last year. Remember that.
Hey, Tay got hurt. If he's healthy, we win that game.
I don't think that's how that works. He threw a pick on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, because of pass interference.
Get out of here. No PI.
No, you guys keep going while I decide.
I think those are flipped. I
Mm.
think if we would lose the Hawk game, I think we'll more than likely win the Packer game. But I'm okay with a loss here if Kyle goes that way. But I'm gonna go Eagles because I'm an Eagle
No, I'm actually leaning towards. I think I'll actually lean towards Eagles. I have faith. I have faith in you guys. I think you could be able to
I'm being so biased
stop
right
that
now. This is
offense.
insane.
Alex has his own little tallies, and they're all wins.
No, I'm being biased in our thing. I think we'll lose to the Packers actually, if I'm being honest. But I'm gonna keep the win just because we're here on live. But one of those games will be a loss. Either the Packers or Hawks. One of them will be a loss. Both could be a loss.
Yeah.
So, next we play the Saints. I assume you're in Philly. I assume both of you are going to say we lose.
Yeah, you're probably not winning all 3 of those games.
That's a tough stretch.
Even
That's
though
for
I
sure.
think if we looked back at it, I think you could beat the Saints and lose to either the Seahawks or the Packers. But
I'll give you Packers if you give me Saints right now. I'll flip it.
Well, yeah, I think that's actually more likely. I think the Saints is you guys.
I'm doing it. I'm flipping the vote then. I'll flip the vote if you'll do that.
No,
Did not know we could do that for our team.
In
I
an
would have
uproar.
changed so much.
Why can't you do that?
You're right. I'll do that now. 16-0, baby. 16-0 Seahawks. But for
Well,
real,
the voting is split, so I'm just switching my vote as a fan. This is something you could have easily done.
Man, then I should have done that a long time ago.
I do think I think we do match up with the Saints very well, and we've played them very tight every year when we have, except for that one game where Wentz and they blew us out, and I was very angry. And I think Wentz, because he was starting for that one, I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, and that was in New Orleans, and now it's in Philly. So I think he has that more. And I think the Packer game, Rodgers has a chip. And so he's mad at that loss last year. So I think that's why I would flip the vote and I'd give the Packer game a loss and I would give the Saints game a win.
All right.
Yeah.
If you both agree. Then
I understand
it's the Cardinals.
The reasoning.
Go
Nick?
to Arizona to play the Cardinals.
I'll go Cardinals and let basically Kyle choose. I think that could be a pretty exciting game, though.
I think that'd be a fun game.
Mm-hmm. Alex, how is your defense on mobile QBs?
We like having fast linebackers, and we like having 2 linebackers set where we can have a nickel in there more. That's what the whole point of what Jalen Mills is. He's taking the role that Malcolm did, which was basically being a linebacker and covering tight ends because he likes the speed and to cover fast QBs. So
okay, then I think I'll lean towards the Eagles actually getting the win. I don't think the Cardinals' offensive line is very strong, and I'm going to assume that the Eagles are pretty healthy to where their defensive line can do damage. And if the linebackers are that fast, then I would think that they could be able to hold off Kyler Murray enough.
Now, the
real thing
linebackers are
is-
fast, but they're not that proven, and they're not like I don't know anything. Our linebackers by far the weakest spot on the team. It's not the secondary because it's Nate Gary, Alex Singletary. Shout out to him or Singleton, however you say it. He played for the Bobcats where we all went to college.
Oh, right on.
And then there's a couple of young guys that I think could have potential, but they are fast. They're just fast guys. So I think QB spies being able to grab them.
It is going to be interesting to see how all those receivers do against the secondary, especially if Kyler Murray is able to buy a little bit of time. It's just that it's such a hard receiving for anyone to guard those 3 receivers if Kyler Murray's running around back there. That's my biggest concern. Game. But I can also see the Eagles definitely getting away.
I'm going to give you this, though, and see if it switches. Because Kyle, you're saying Eagles, and Nick, you're saying Cardinals, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this right now without the Cardinal game being counted because the next 2 games are predetermined wins against the Cowboys and the DBDs. Right now, without it, we're sitting at 11-5. So if we win this, we'd have 12 wins, or not 11-5, but 12. We'd have 11 wins right now, 12 if I win this. I think 11-5 is more realistic, so I'm going to actually do the loss, even though I do think we can beat the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think 11-5, 12-4 is right around where you guys are going to be at. Because I think you're in a good enough division that even if, a bad enough division that you can kind of beat up on the Washington and the Giants. So I'm sticking with Cards.
You think we could win 12 games?
Yeah.
Kyle, do you think we can win 12 games?
I see 10 and 11 wins. If your team is fully healthy, 12 is...
Yeah, I think 11 seems like the most likely.
Yeah, 11 would be most likely. I would still stick with... I would still stick with Eagles winning. I still think that could be a sneaky win against the Cardinals, but 11-5 I see actually being the most realistic.
Then I'm going to take the win there, baby. I thought you both thought us at 10-6, if not lower. I thought you guys didn't even like me. You're out here saying we'll win 12 games. I'll take that win.
Rooting for his team. Saying his team is stacked.
4, baby.
I think the big thing is, you have either clear, obviously the first or second best quarterback in the division. I think Wentz is better than Dak, but I don't think it's too far off. But I think the other two teams are just quite a bit worse than you guys, and you guys just have a decent enough schedule where double-digit games is very possible unless things go really wrong.
Or a bad
so yeah, I think
again.
I think 11-5 might be, or 10-6 might be a little more realistic, but I don't think it's out of the ordinary if you guys go 12-4.
I really thought we were going to win this division with 9-7 or 8-8 tiebreaker, maybe 10. I didn't think you two were that high, so I'll take the 12-4. I counted out that 11. I was like, these guys are about to flip their votes. I can't believe it. I'll take it. All right.
It was close.
Right.
It was close, that's for sure.
I'll take that. All right. Well, we have Eagles winning the division at 12-4. Cowboys maybe fighting for a wild card there at 8-8. We have then the Giants at 4-12, which it sounds like we all think that should be a bit higher, except maybe Al likes the 4 spot. If they win 2 more games, it's not the end of the world, but I think 3 to 5 wins is probably where it's going to end up being at. TBD's at 3 wins. Sounds about right. They're in complete rebuild. All right. Any final thoughts on this division, the NFC East?
I think we're just a little harsh on the Giants, but other than that, I think we're pretty spot on. Cowboys will be an interesting team too.
There's going to be a lot of interesting things going on in this division. How's Dwayne Haskins going to look? How's Daniel Jones going to look? How is the new coaches, Mike McCarthy, Joe Judge, Eagles? They're going to be hearing lots about, all this injury stuff, especially with Carson Wentz. And with Jalen Hurts right behind him, there's going to be a lot of things being talked about. We lost Nick for some reason. I was just saying. Yeah, exactly. I was just saying that there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about throughout the NFC East. They may not be the most competitive division, but they're going to be one of the most talked about divisions just because there's a lot of moving parts going on. And, that's going to be very interesting to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, I'm nervous of the injuries. Wentz does need to stay healthy, but again, I've said this on other episodes, I don't think he's actually really hurt right now. I think it might be a bit of a fib. I know it's not allowed in the NFL, but I think it might be a little bit of a fib. I think they treated it as a 4th preseason game, and the only way to get him out of practice is to say that there was an injury without everybody freaking out about COVID.
Sure.
Everything I've seen since, he's been fine. And hey, if he gets hurt, I'd rather watch Jalen Hurts than McCown. Shout out to Josh McCown. They officially make it a rule in the NFL that you're allowed to have veteran players on your practice squad, and he is the first veteran player added. Not only is he the first, he's the oldest at 41 years old. He's our all-time emergency QB. The guy's going to make $12,000 a day to stay at home and be in Texas and do some Zoom meetings. Are you kidding me? We're just paying for a coach. I love that.
That's the dream.
All right, anyway. Hopefully this turns out to be true. And, Nick said finish up without him. He didn't mean for that to end, but here we are, guys. We'll see you on Saturday. We'll talk about the first game of the year, and we'll talk about the NBA bubble as that is ramping up to getting close to its conference finals here. So for the Get Back guys, we are out of here. Kyle, next time, and see ya.
See you guys.